Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. You know, a person might have an extreme amount of love for another individual. However, their expression of that love might be limited by the amount of power or resources that they have. You could think of a child that very much loves the parents, has a heart for the parents, but as a small child doesn't really have a whole lot of ways to express that love for the parent, besides maybe an occasional hug or kiss or smile. And oftentimes that can be a limiting factor in the expression of people's love. And we as humans, we have limited resources for expressing our love for other people, either because we have limited time, limited money, limited energy, or other types of resources. And even though we might love and totally love another individual, we may not be able to fully and absolutely express that love based upon our own limitations. But this is not true with God. With God, He can give the best and the most ultimate expression of love because His power and His resources are limitless. In Psalm 136, you have this word repeated over and over again: for His loving kindness is everlasting. And for those who are following along in the King James Version, you probably notice that it says His mercy is everlasting or endureth forever. Mercy is usually, this original word in the original Hebrew is usually translated mercy whenever it's in connection to hardship. And those who translated the King James Version probably did that because much of this psalm has to do with the time when Israel was in hardship and God came through for them. And so this word for loving kindness is interpreted as, or translated as, mercy. But the New American Standard interprets it in the more broader sense in loving kindness, having a heart of benevolence and goodwill towards people. And that's probably more accurate for Psalm 136 because Psalm 136 is a little bit more broader than just people in hardship. For instance, the very first section talks about creation and God's loving kindness being expressed in creation. And so as we think about Psalm 136, we can think about the love of God. The love of God is everlasting, and it has an unlimited ability to be expressed because it comes from the heart of a God who is limitless, a God who is eternal, not limited by time, not limited by resources, not limited by power, and therefore He can express His love to the absolute. For Israel, He expressed it in several ways, in at least 5 ways that are brought out in Psalm 136. In creation, of course, I guess that could go broader than just Israel, but going back to creation, which was something that Israel would have known about based upon their own scriptures, because of God's creating the heavens with skill, spreading out the earth above the waters, so on and so forth, His love is expressed in the beautiful and wonderful way that He has created this world, this universe really that we live in. His love is expressed in also His rescue of Israel. That's brought out in the psalm in verses 10 through 15. His guidance, also an expression of His love, the way that He guided Israel in the wilderness in verse 16. And then the victory over their enemies, and giving them victory over the enemies, both before they entered into the land and also when they actually did enter into the land with Joshua. He gave them victory, and that was an expression of His love, and that's brought out in verses 19 through 20. And then His providence in verses 21 through 25. God provided for them. He brought them into their inheritance. He gave them a heritage and provided for them in that way. And so God expressed His love for Israel in an immense way, in a beautiful way. And we could even expand that to all those who love the Lord, who walk before Him, We too can look to his creation. We can look to his rescue. We can look to his guidance, his victory, the victory he gives us over our spiritual enemies, and then the daily providential care that he gives us, but also his providing for us in the future with an eternal inheritance. That's an expression of his love. So if ever you're reading the scriptures and you see wonderful promises given to us as believers, and you think, wow, that's just too good to be true. Well, it's not too good to be true, because we have a God who can accomplish anything. He has all is readily available to him, and he has such an immense love for us, and a love that's beyond even comprehension. And that love can be expressed thoroughly and absolutely because of his power and the resources available to him. So let's be thankful that we are loved by such a God, such a sovereign God, such a powerful Lord. And he loves us very much. And he has great promises for us. Yes, today may be difficult. Tomorrow might be hard. The upcoming week might have its own challenges. But we know that ultimately he's going to express his love in the absolute. And we're going to enjoy the fruits of his love in eternity. So let's think about that. Let's cherish that today as we do our reading today. With that, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.